Hello and welcome. Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, depending on wherever you are watching from in the world. My name is Gogs the Captain Brown. Thank you once again for joining me here on Formula Racing League TV, live on YouTube. That's at FRL Race Hub. We are here to watch the action for round 3 of FRL's PlayStation 5 Super Sprint Sunday Championship. The battle lines have been drawn. The first couple of races have had the results put in the record books. We have visited 2 continents, 2 amazing racetracks, and round 3 will see us visit a 3rd continent. We are touching the holy grail of racetracks this season at FRL. Round 1 seen us visit the southern tip of Africa, Kyalami, which seen Morgan take the double win in the Pro Tier, with Dan Naisbitt and Clayton sharing the honours in silver. Round 2 we ended up at what many to consider to be the home of GT racing, myself included in that. We headed back to Europe to Spa-Francorchamps. The night race seen Morgan take another double win, with Clegg and Mackinnon hot on his heels. In Pro, ran a double win for Dan Naisbitt, who we are watching just now in the red and white Ferrari in the silver class. With both championships now beginning to take shape, we touched down at the former home of the United States Grand Prix, the home of speedway racing, the Brickyard, Indianapolis. We will be racing on a very unique layout tonight. You can see on the bottom right of the screen. This layout is only available on Assetto Corsa Competizione, a very unique combination, a blend of the IndyCar course and the old USGP course, along with the MotoGP course as well. All parts of that being used, as well as the legendary main straight of the Motor Speedway itself. A fabulous setting for this 3rd round. If you are new to Formula Racing League's Sunday Sprint Championship, I will give you a quick rundown just now. We are entering the final moments of the free practice session. All the information there on the top right of your screen, along with temperatures and weather forecasts. But the schedule this evening as well. Free practice just now. The final 5 minutes of that. Then we'll head into qualifying. We have a 20-minute qualifying session as we watch Naisbitt just bump the wall coming out of the final corner in the background there. Hello Lewis, good evening in the chat. I know you are not new to Formula Racing League Sprint Sundays. My predecessor, of course, there in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us. The qualifying session will be split into 2 parts. The 20 minutes will be split into 10 minutes each. The silver class having exclusive use of the track for the first 10, and the pro class for the final 10 minutes. Then we head into race 1, which will have a 20-minute sprint race from the lights to the checkered flag. Both classes will race at the same time on track. No obligation for anyone to move out of the way. You are technically racing everyone for position. There's just 2 separate championships in terms of points. Race 2 is the same, so again we'll do it twice. So nice, we do it twice here at Formula Racing League. We will head into the late afternoon, different conditions for the drivers, and double the amount of time. They'll be driving for 40 minutes straight that time around. There are no mandatory pit stops this evening. All these races are to the end, but the longer race, the second one, has some additional challenges for these guys, such as tyre wear and fuel calculations. They'll need to make sure they do carry the right fuel. Obviously, any additional litres they put in the cars do cost tenths of a second. Let's Walsh, number 174, SRT's newest driver on PC. I assume you mean Lee Walsh, potentially. Let's Walsh doesn't quite make sense, as Naisbitt pulls over there. Now let's get rid of the main screen. That driver tracker in the middle of the screen will be important for qualifying. You see all the car numbers running around in the middle of the screen. I'm going to move that to the bottom right in a second. but you can see all the numbers there. You can track your favourite driver on screen, see where they are on the track, as well as what kind of lap they are on, and if they are indeed causing any potential yellow flags this evening. A grey dot represents a driver on a hot lap, a blue dot represents a driver not on a hot lap. Yellow flags are obviously meaning a car is being noted as being off track or stopped. So keep an eye on that this evening as well. It will be especially prevalent in qualifying. So this is one of the tricky sections here, this little tight, twisty section at the end of the track. Not the easiest set of corners to navigate as a driver. This is obviously Sprint Sunday. Formula Racing League hosts 3 races a week. We have Late Night Thursday, as the name suggests, on a Thursday evening, which has already taken part. That takes place 4 days before Super Sprint Sunday. A lot of the drivers do partake in that to make sure they get some practice in for this event, as well as Tackle Tuesday, which again, as the name suggests, will be happening on Tuesday, all at the same track here at the Brickyard. I did drive myself in the Late Night Thursday event, so I do have an understanding of what is going on this evening, the tracks, the challenges, the corners that these guys will be facing, so I'll try and give some insight into that as we go on. However, the weather conditions right now are a lot better than the conditions that we had on Thursday, so that's something good. We'll see the drivers able to push these cars to the limits and who is the fastest. Right now we're looking on the left hand side off the screen. I'll do this when we've got a minute left of practice, so I don't have to do it during the qualifying session. So we see A. Morgan, car number 5 on the top left, with a white background to their name. There he is there, the number 5 McLaren. Now, with the white background denotes that Morgan is in pro class, in the pro tier of championship. Mäkinen in second behind him as well, only 0.4 of a second down in the Porsche. There he is, there, the number 7 car. And we also have Luca Lascu. Luca has been unfortunate the last few races. Dan Clegg stepped up a gear last time out. Jay Wather in the deep Bentley. I've said last time how nice it was to see that Bentley back on track. And John Bozzer, Jay Wather, the shaft himself, back on track in the Bentley. Great to see. While we look at that there, that's the cars with the white background are the pro tier. The silver tier, which we see with the silver background, there's Trotman in the 246 Lamborghini, that olive green and gold coloured car, the 246. The silver denotes the silver drivers, funnily enough. So that's the checkered flag now down for practice. This is the last couple of laps, the dying embers off practice. Clayton now coming across the line to finish his final lap. Crosses the line and does not improve. Only a couple more guys left out there now. This was in the pit lane as we just watched someone else, the 979 off my home car, come across the line there just now. Luke Ritchine's driving the McLaren this season in the 104 car. As he navigates the final corner now. This is of course where Ralf Schumacher decided to do his best impression of a destruction derby car and smash himself into the wall. So that is the end of practice. You see the timetables there, just a brief sort of understanding of how quick everyone is this evening. Morgan looking particularly quick, but Mäkinen having the advantage, the edge, ever so slightly in the middle sector. Luca and Clegg hot on their heels. It's going to be very tight in behind that there. We see how close everyone is. Konjinkin and Palmer looking very quick in silver. Camilleri is looking fast as well. Camilleri, I think we had that conversation last week. Stu Rogers, Dan Naisbitt, both part of the admin team at FRL, as is Jay Prentice and L Prentice. All those guys working very hard to bring you all these races and organise all the action, and of course Mr. Gedman as well. There's so much work behind the scenes. We mentioned that last week as well, but it would not be the same if we did not continue to mention that, because the work is ongoing. So thank you very much, guys, for taking care of all that you do. So let's have a look now. Some cars now exiting the pit lane. The silver class, like we said, does have exclusive use of the track, and I have just noticed it is raining here at Indianapolis. The heavens have opened, at least for the next 10 to 15 minutes. The forecast on the top right off the screen there showing you just exactly what has happened. Normally we see cars diving out the pit lane at the start of qualifying. No such things happening today as the drivers all scramble to adjust their pressures, and as a neutral I have to say this is exactly what we wanted to see. Mick there in the chat, Yorkshire Mick. If you guys used to the wet after the 12 hours of quota yesterday, must have been some kind of endurance race going on yesterday, where based on the description of events was a absolute monsoon. So this is something the drivers will have had to deal with. Practice was looking very dry. Townsend, of course, was racing on Thursday and got to experience these conditions, so he might be at a slight advantage here. That is the advantage of taking part in the late night Thursday sessions. Townsend's going to go across the line first, but he's going to have a lot of cars in front of him. So Townsend now out in front. Let's have a look at the Pink Panther as he tries to navigate this very treacherous wet surface. What can he do? On board now with the Welshman as he comes over the start grid and crosses the actual brick yard, the yard of bricks. He's going to have to pinpoint his braking point here around about 500 board. Slam on the brakes, don't lock up, it is wet. He'll need to do a lot to get that car turned in. He gets it turned in, and it does look very treacherous out there. The front of that McLaren just understeers wide onto the exit of 2. Turn 3 is an acceleration zone and a point where you pinpoint your braking for turn 4. We did go over this in the track guide lap on YouTube on FRL Race Hub earlier on as well. It was wet then, but we'll make sure Townsend gets round the lap. This is a tricky hairpin double apex. You can see just how wet the track is. The back end of that McLaren just slowly stepping out on him. He uses this absolute mammoth runoff area that is within track limits, that is allowed. Very tricky to get the braking point here. He's got it slowed down. That curb on the inside can be treacherous, but the Welshman navigates it well. He's over these 2 curbs, bounces over them, a hop, skip and a jump. Keep it on the left. This is such an important corner. He doesn't quite put up that apex. Maybe not wanting to put the tyres on the soaking wet curbs as it's still raining here in Indiana. It's so easy to lock up and end up straight on into those polystyrene markers. We're closing in on car 13 up ahead. Townsend takes an early turn in for the final proper corner. This corner normally an acceleration zone in the wet. Sounded like he was flat through there. Very brave from the Welshman. He's up through the gears, nothing more to do than to cross the line and set a provisional 144.2. Car number 41, that's Michael Milnick's on his home track this evening. What can he do? Goes 7 milliseconds ahead of Townsend. Stu Rogers in the 512 crosses the line and goes 4 tenths behind Townsend and Milnick's. So a couple of cars out there we see on the driver tracker now. Car 23 is on a hot lap, but he is surrounded by 104 and 13 who are both not on valid laps, so they'll have to give way. Kojinkin coming across the line now. Where does he go? He goes first, 3 tenths faster than Milnick's. And we see now the driver tracker on the left hand side is going to begin to tumble with times as we're now watching who we've got here. Trotman. Trotman's going to come across the line, goes into P5, the Lamborghini. Very heavy with the LFM BOP applied, additional weight to try and bring the cars closer together because that Lamborghini is a machine. Stoyanov in the 66 Ferrari comes across the line now. did set a valid lap time, and we'll see how it all tumbles now on the left hand side. So right now we're looking at Palmer, Kronchinkin, Richten, Brave back in the action. Milnix, Townsend, Rogers, Trotman, Booth, Harvey and Stoyanov. My apologies earlier on, I think it was Harvey who was sharing the honours with Naisbitt in round 1. Now, interestingly, Naisbitt, current championship leader, still in the pit lane as Rogers completes his second lap. This is the McLaren of Don Javier. Not had the best start to the season, been involved in a lot of incidents, at least so far anyway. We'll see if he can build on that a little bit, see what he can do. He's got a BMW just in front of him. Don Javier now comes into the final section. Round the final corner now. He's going to get a little toe here actually. Down into turn 1. Don Javier goes first. The track drying up. Don Javier goes first by nearly 3/10 of a second. So that's going to be very exciting for everyone just now. Harry Palmer comes across the line and now he goes P1. The track is getting faster. 2.5 minutes left of this qualifying session. This very exciting qualifying session as we now watch Harvey coming across the line. Doesn't improve, at least not this time. Maybe had a little bit of an off. We know the track is getting faster. Grape as well, not able to improve, and Townsend goes up to P2. The Welshman with a solid lap that time out. Serov now about to cross the line. What can he do? He improves up into P11. Stu Rogers now coming round. 1 minute 49.48 left. He may get 2 more laps in. Rogers doesn't improve. We've got Naisbitt now out. He's going to have one shot, I think. 1 minute 40. Yeah, Naisbitt's going to have one shot to get this lap in, so he's going to be the first one to set his final lap. Camilleri is coming across the line. He's got a car close behind him in tow. He goes into provisional pole, but Kronchinkin, who's the man who's behind, has used that tow and puts himself a 10th ahead of Camilleri. Great lap from Kronchinkin in the McLaren. The 246 car now. That's Paul Trotman. There's a big queue there behind Gedman. Gedman comes across the line, doesn't improve. Don Javier does improve, goes up to P2 now as well. These guys are all going to get one more lap, but you're not allowed to qualify to overtake in qualifying, so that's a hindrance for those guys. Richten Brave round the final corner now. He comes across the line, only in P10 for Richten Brave. He's got one more lap, 36 seconds of qualifying left. Harvey improves, but not enough to move position. Grafe across the line next as well. Doesn't jump up to P11. Townsend at P5. This qualifying session is frantic. We have a queue now at the end of the pit lane for the pro drivers. They're sitting queuing up, ready to go. They've all got their setups ready. Milnix crosses the line and goes P1. Milnix provisionally takes pole position. This grid order is tumbling and it's going to be last across the line. Dan Naisbitt comes across the line. I think that is his one lap. I don't know if he got across the line there, but 141.455 for Dan Naisbitt in the 488. As the pro drivers now join the track, I don't know if Naisbitt got across the line there. We'll need to double check that one with the stewards, but he's 8/10 ahead. And one person is going to 23. Kronchinkin is not able to improve. He is done for this evening in terms of qualifying. He's not going to start any higher up the grid. Who else do we have coming around the corner here? Car number 25. That's Booth in the BMW. He's done. He's pulled over. He's not able to go any higher. Car 79 is Gedman. He'll start no higher than P15 this evening. Rick Den Brave has got another chance as he comes round the final corner. The track definitely drying up. You can see a little bit of a dry line beginning to appear. He crosses the line now and goes P11. Camilleri is not the next car across, sorry, it's car 33. That is Samuel Grafe as he crosses the line now. Jumps up to P9, and who's coming on there? That's Townsend. Townsend's not able to improve. He's going to be in 7th. And two more cars coming across the line now. That's Stu Rogers and Dan Naisbitt. So Stu Rogers just in front. The two FRL admins battling hard on track, going to be the last across the line. And that is Naisbitt improves. Naisbitt with a 140.9. So now it's time for the Pro Tier, and we've got Morgan Grace there, but just in front we have Morgan. We've already seen Morgan's hot lap as part of the Late Night Thursday series. So let's have a look at Morgan Grace instead. Mark Conway in chat, Sandbagger FRL Dan at it again. Well, Dan, I will leave you to respond to that one on FRL's Discord. Feel free to reply to that attempt at fishing. We can see the dry line there, so it's going to look like these pro drivers are so much faster. They are actually a lot closer than we think. And Grace getting wide there on the runoff, even still with all that space. And that car's not looking like it's got the best off connection here this evening. You see it jumping all over the track. Well, that's not the best thing for the viewer, so let's have a look at Prentice. That's Jay Prentice in the Bentley, another Bentley on track, two Bentleys this evening. The 678 mint green baby of Jay Prentice. And we also have John Wazzer, Jay Wazzer, sorry, in the 32 Bentley. Also lapping just now. So the timings are going to begin to tumble. Let's see what happens on the left hand side of the screen, because Alex Morgan is about to come round. There he is there, and crosses the line, and he's a second off Dan Naisbitt's time. That's very interesting. Grace and Clegg cross the line. Potentially the track is dried up a little bit with the rain falling between the Pro and Silver sessions. That's very interesting. Townsend in chat, good evening, thank you very much for joining us in your short qualifying break. Townsend of course taking advantage of the wet running in Late Night Thursday series. If you fancy taking part in Late Night Thursday or Taco Tuesday as well as this event, have a little look on www.thesimgrid.com. All you need is a copy of Assetto Corsa Competizione for the PlayStation 5, which of course is one of the free games available on PlayStation Plus Extra or Premium, if I'm not very much mistaken. You can have, as long as you've got that, you can join FRL and their Discord. All the details on simgrid.com. Search for Formula Racing League. Mackinnon's having a good lap to go first in class. Still a second off the pace, but what will be happening here is the drivers will be slowly feeling the track out. Great lap from Luke Prentice there in the 43 Mercedes. That car very good over the curbs, and he's cut a lot of that corner. That is the ideal line through there, and he's not afraid to use that exit curb either. We can see the slightly drier line just beginning to appear. The rain has stopped. Somebody's went straight off there at the end of the third to last corner. The rain stopped, so the track's now going to dry up. It is only 10 degrees, so it won't dry up particularly quickly, but it's going to get faster and faster and faster. So again, we're going to have this qualifying session where the times just keep on rumbling, bumbling, tumbling. As we see, Morgan there takes almost a second off his time. Prentice at 8/10 faster as well. Clegg, I think, just running a little bit ahead of these guys. He's got the car number 14, that Ferrari. just tucked in ahead. I think that is De Vita. I could be mistaken though, that could be Grace as well. It is Grace indeed. So a couple of cars out there yet to set a lap time. We've got Luca in the McLaren, there he is there. Dario De Vita in the 21. He's going to come across the line very shortly. What time can he set? Never seen his time register. He did not set a valid lap time, that is why. We see another time go up there. Who else have we yet to see? McCann in the 666 Lamborghini is yet to set a time. De Vita and Eden yet to set a time as well. The 884 Ferrari, we've seen some great performances from them over the last season or so. The back end of that Ferrari just having a little dance out as it powers out of the last corner. He comes across the line now, flags waving by the marshals all over the place, and Eden goes up into P19. Luca's gone provisionally on pole position. Morgan's just crossed the line and equalled the exact same time. Luca and Morgan matching each other, punch for punch, stride for stride, rev for rev. That's almost unheard of. Amazing to see how close this field is here at the Brickyard on this very exciting drying track. The surface is still wet. The screen on the top is telling us the track is wet, but we're looking at it and we can see Mäkinen now goes within. Wow, look, Clayton with an unbelievable lap, 1 minute 40.7. These times are going to tumble, but look how close the top four are. Less than almost 50 milliseconds, 53 milliseconds separating them. It's so close. The 666 Lamborghini, now that car is the symphony of evil as McCann crosses the line, goes into P20. Have a Bentley there crossing the line just behind. That was Jay Wazzer, goes into the top 10. 2 minutes and 5 seconds of qualifying remain. Eden, the 884 car, still driving round the third to last corner. This is the onboard shot we have. We can see not only is it now lighter in the sky, the clouds are dispersing in this early morning here in Indiana. Eden's got a little bit of under and oversteer as he four-wheel drifts through the final corner. He crosses the line now. Eden moves up into P11. Morgan's about to he's on a flyer. And Morgan goes provisionally into pole position. Grace crosses the line, does not improve, and that is the end of qualifying for Grace. He's done. Dan Clegg not on a valid lap, and neither is Van der Waal behind. So Clegg and Van der Waal are going to have one more shot. 1 minute 13 seconds of qualifying left. So these guys are going to get another shot of qualifying. Walsh comes across the line with Mäkinen in quick tow. Mäkinen 10th behind. It's so close up top. Clayton crosses the line, does not improve. He's got another chance, of course. And we've got some movers and shakers on the way. Jack Prentice. That's Tom Hacker, sorry. Hackers went into P11. Prentice is not improved, I don't think, anyway. Luca has looked so quick, and that McLaren looks to be on the ragged edge. He's all the way to the wall. He's really pushing that McLaren. No improvement. So we've got a big chunk of gap now to the next cars behind. Right now we are watching Eden. We've got 18 seconds left. This is very likely going to be his last lap, his last attempt. We've got car 174 has been off track. That's Walsh. Walsh in the Audi will not get to set a time. He'll start no higher than where he is just now. That is P15. The track is now damp. It is the driest it has been so far. Eden crosses the line, goes into P9. Lucas went provisionally quickest, but Morgan crosses the line now. He can't do it. Morgan's not improved. Luca takes pole position for the upcoming races. Car number 20, I think we've got here, Clegg. And we've also got the 433 in behind. What can Clegg and Van der Waal do? Clegg goes up into P5. Van der Waal crosses the line up into P4. So even better from Van der Waal. Mäkinen is 7/10 off just now. What can he do? Only goes to 6/10 is not enough. Clayton now crosses the line up into P4 now as well. It's not enough. The times are tumbling, but they're not catching the leaders. Prentice and Dalybale come across the line. No improvement. We've got a McLaren back there as well. Not trouble in the top. What can Jack Prentice do at this time? Can he move up? He doesn't. And that is the end of qualifying. Qualifying is finished. What an exciting session we've had at the end of Formula Racing League's Sprint Sunday Pro and Silver tier. Let's have a look at the order. Lasco Luca takes pole position, 1 minute 39.9. Must have had hooked up that lap exquisitely. Alex Morgan has had his streak of pole positions ended. He is in P2, 6/10 behind, as is Juho Mäkinen. The Flying Finn in P3. Josh Clayton in the 500 Ferrari takes 4th. Damien van der Waal is in the P5 to start the race. Dan Clegg will start in 6th place, fastest first sector of anyone in that Lamborghini. Dan Naisbitt takes pole position for the silver class, but will be 7th on track overall, with a big chunk of pro drivers between him and Michael Malnix. Grace is 8th, 1 minute 40.915. Luke Prentice also in the 149s. Tom Hacker rounds off the top 10. Eden 11th, Mihuka 12th. Wazzer 13th, McCann 14th, Jack Prentice 15th. Walsh in P16, Dialbrail in P17. Malnick second in class will be 18th on track with a 3rd place for Krojinkin. Great performance from them and a massive improvement from season to season. Great to see. Don Javier will round off the top 20. Camilleri will be in 21st, coming off the back of a strong Spa performance. He'll start 5th in class. Harry Palmer just tucked in behind. Data Townsend is in 23rd with Booth 24th. Samuel Grafe in the Audi in 25th. Stu Rogers 26th, couldn't quite hook up the lap. Luke Richings in 27th. Rick Dembrave 28th. Paul Trotman 29th. Serov is 30th. Gedman 31st. Harvey 32nd. Stoyanov, De Vita round up the grid. And just so we can have a look, there is the order of the silver class drivers. All 17 of them on track this evening. It is Luca who has led the way in qualifying, and I want to use this small lull in the action just to have a quick chat about Patreon. It is, of course, a way you can support Formula Racing League. Patreon support is essential to the ongoing success of FRL. The main purpose of this is to cover operational costs such as the hiring of private servers to host these amazing races. We also have to secure commentary and streams such as this one. There are also many other costs and utilities associated with sim racing. So if you are enjoying this content, or even if you are one of the many drivers racing tonight who will inevitably watch back the stream, just obviously be aware there are 3 options available for you to support Formula Racing League, starting only at £3. That's 3 British golden shiny sterling pounds. For that, you can get your very own racing number reserved along with your own Discord logo, designed by Formula Racing League's amazing graphics team. You'll have a guaranteed seat in any of FRL's championships, Sprint Sunday, Tackle Tuesday and Late Night Thursday. And you will have your very own YouTube or Twitch stream shared amongst Formula Racing League's 3,000 plus members. 3,000. So that's only £3. That is no more than a price of a small coffee. I think it's less now, actually, less than the price of a small coffee from everyone's favourite Northwest United States based coffee company. Get yourself a cup of Instant Joe, save yourself £3 and use that to get your stream shared and contribute to your very own success. Search Formula Racing League on patreon.com. Now the server has now loaded for the start of race 1. Race 1 takes place in game 40 minutes after the end of qualifying. So the rain's gone, the sun is out here in this looks like a lovely winter's morning here in Indianapolis. The track is cold, it's 11 degrees, it's not going to be a hot one. The track's looking greasy, some really nasty conditions, nasty grip for the drivers to partake with. The track is going to rubber in as we get going. It's going to get drier and drier, and the track is going to have more rubber put down by these cars, and it's going to get grippier. So we're going to get faster and faster as we go on. But the first 20-minute race here, this could be either survival of the guys with the highest level of car control, or could be riddled with accidents as drivers chase grip that is not there. 20 seconds until Luca gets us underway with the formation lap, the first of our 2 formation laps for our 2 races. So we're going to have Morgan there Luca in the light blue and white on the left, Morgan in the purple, yellow and black liveried car on the right. On the second row we see Mäkinen and Clayton as they move off now. Mäkinen and Clayton are beginning to move off. Van der Waal and Clegg row 3, Naisbitt and Grace in row 4, Prentice and Hacker row 5, Eden, Mihuka, Jay Wazer, McCann, Prentice, Walsh, Dybreel, Milnix, Konjinskin, Don Javier, Camilleri, Palmer, Townsend, Booth, Grafe, Rogers, Richings, then Brave, Trotman, Seloff, Gedman. A little bit ahead there, I went too fast. Harvey, Stoyanov and De Vita, who is starting at the back of the grid. In chat there we've got, I think it was Lewis just saying, we have a lovely mix of manufacturers participating, at least at the top end of the grid. That is absolutely true. That is of course in part to the new balance of power. Mäkinen's off track on the formation lap, needs to be careful, make sure he can rejoin. Mäkinen of course testing out that Porsche's grass cutting abilities. I think he's now able to rejoin, but that's something he will need to hurry up because the game will port him back to the pit lane if he's not careful. The track obviously very slidey, very slidey. Yeah, mix of manufacturers on the grid this evening in the top half. Normally last season we were dominated with McLarens, with Ferraris, with the Lamborghinis. But now we can see we've got a Porsche in there, we've got an AMG Mercedes, some Bentleys, an Audi, some BMWs as well, and even got Dan Naisbitt in the old Ferrari, the 488. Really striving. I've got a car in the pit lane, that's car number 7. Mäkinen was not able to make it back, so Mäkinen's going to be starting the race from the pit lane. Absolute nightmare for him. Of course he'll be able to take the grid for race 2. Yeah, the balance of power, that is weight added to the faster cars at each track based on their performance, their historic performance, to try and level the playing field. Nightmare for number 7, Lewis Robinson in chat. Absolutely, he'll be starting from the pit lane. However, leave the grass cutting to Gedman. Both driving the Porsches, both very good at grass cutting. Yep, we're entering now the final couple of corners of the formation lap. So let's just have a quick rundown of who is where on the track. Luca is in the dark purple car on the front. Morgan in the dark purple car. Oh dear, Luca in the blue car. Had a Murray Walker moment there. Luca in the light blue and white. Morgan on the right hand side in the purple. In behind Clayton, we're also going to see Van der Waal, Clegg, Naisbitt, Grace, Prentice and Hacker, and Eden now up to 10th in that order as we approach turn 1. We see the cars lining up now and we await the green flag here to get us going at the Brickyard.
Green light.
And we are green, we are underway. We see the cars moving off, they're almost full abreast further down the grid. Morgan and Luca bump each other side by side. They're doing it again, they're battering so hard for that position. Morgan's got a great start, Luca's backed off, allowed him to go through, and the Porsche tries to go down the inside. We've got Clayton sideways and there's contact, there's 3 abreast on the exit, there's a huge crash. We've got Grace spinning round and round. Where did he stop? We don't know, but it's Dan Naisbitt facing the wrong way. Huge pile up at turn 1. I was scared this was going to happen, and it has. The cars down the grid having major issues. Dan Naisbitt coming off bad there as well. Car number 14, we'll work out who that is. Morgan has got himself out into P1. We'll let the driver tracker on the left now slowly begin to update itself, because I think it's had a little bit of a panic. Car 14 is showing as a yellow flag, and now in the pit lane. Now there's the driver tracker now updating itself there. It's been an absolute nightmare turn 1, but one person who'll be glad to be out of that is Mackinnon. He's about a sector behind. We'll see where he can fight his way up to if they keep falling off the track the way they have been. He will find his way further up. The sun is now out and got his hat on. Morgan's out in front. Clayton is in second. Grace is reported back to the pit lane as well. It was Morgan, Grace and Dan Naisbitt who got together. They were alongside each other at the start. Yellow flags out at it's Chris Gedman. He's off cutting the grass as previously suggested. A little bit of a gap opening down there to Dan Clegg, who's now in the pit lane. Dan Clegg's been involved in a massive smash. He's jumped into the pits. So Mihuka's going to move up a position there. That is Prentice all over the grass on the exit to the final corner. Morgan's out in front. He's got 2 seconds to Clayton, but look at these guys battering here to come down into turn 1. A little bit behind, we've got Jack Prentice thinking about a move on to Eden. Eden's front of that Ferrari looks smashed to pieces. 2 Bentleys side by side, but it's Don Javier who leads the silver class. Palmer's alongside. It's so close. Can they get around this section side by side? Not this time around, but look at the closing speed of that Aston Martin on the back of the McLaren. They'll need to be very careful they don't make contact. Don Javier takes the inside for the first part of the corner. They'll need to be careful because Dybrale is behind and obviously looking for that move. We'll need to be careful because Mihuka and Dybrale are driving the same liveried car this evening as well. And they're side by side now. That's Palmer taking the lead of Silver. Don Javier tries to brake late. He's on the outside line and he's not able to keep position. And there's contact. Don Javier and Dybrale hit each other on the exit off the 90-degree left-hander. So that's potentially a little bit of controversy to start us off. Dan Clegg's now left the pit lane. Is he going to keep himself on the lead lap? This close action back there, that looked like Eden smashing over the curb, defending from water. Here he is there. That big old Bentley tries to go round the outside of the second to last corner. He's able to get it done. That puts him on the inside for the final turn. And he is up the inside and taking the position. John J. Wazer up into P9. Clegg's got out just in front of Morgan, but he might start facing the wrath of the blue flags. But look here, we've got Palmer now down the inside of Eden. Eden, of course, desperately trying to get that car towards the end. Palmer almost drives clean around the outside of him. He's got the inside for turn 3. This has been a great start to the race for Palmer, of course, in the 207 Aston Martin, who finds himself in P1 in silver. And the 2 damaged cars now. This is for position, Dybrale and Eden. Eden looks like he is struggling with that car. He's pulled over. Eden's done. He's back to the pits. That's Eden out of the race, it looks like just now. Mihuka now on the back of Prentice. The Lamborghini almost pushing that Mercedes through the quick sort of right-left section. This is the important corner here. A little bit of damage on the side of the Lamborghini. Morgan has gone. Morgan has checked out front. He is 4.2 ahead of Luca. Luca was very cautious there into turn 1. Of course, very aware. He's been involved in a couple of incidents. Now, it looked a little bit like in the background the Pink Panther of number 9 Townsend running wide on the third to last corner. He will absolutely appreciate me saying that on stream. Even though he wasn't even on camera, we did manage to catch it indeed. So a little bit further back here, we've got Camilleri on the back of Gabriel. Can he make the move down the inside into turn 1? He's definitely going to attempt it. He's on the inside. He leaves a car's width, but he's going to drive clean around the outside of 2, but he's not. Gabriel's kept position at least for one more lap. Big old back off the Barwell Motorsport car of Matthias Gabriel in the 85 car, blocking the way of the BMW. The BMW just smashes over those curbs, not phased in the slightest. Nothing doing just now. This really is a fantastic straight. You can see everything. Townsend now behind the McCann. Both cars look to be carrying some minor damage. Doesn't look too bad. Paul Trotman's not had the best of starts as well, bouncing over the grass there. So we've now had a couple of laps down there, 4 laps down. Let's have a quick rundown of what's going on, because Clayton's taken Luca for P2. The Ferrari running well. Has Luca potentially got any damage? You look back there, Luca's all over the rear of Morgan. Jay-Z in the chat. I'm sure it's not the Jay-Z, however we've got a Jay-Z in the chat saying come on Camilleri. Camilleri is having a cracking race. Let's check in on him. Of course, in the chat, if you do want me to check on your favourite driver, just leave a little comment. We'll give you a shout out and we'll check in on your driver. Camilleri is currently running second in class, 12th on the track, and putting pressure on the 85 Lamborghini and really not letting him out of his sights. Wants to catch up with Palmer, who's about 3.5-4 seconds down the road. So we'll check in with him later in the chat. I'm watching the stream today. Jai Z. Big action going on a little bit further behind now. Let's see what have we got here. Townsend, Rogers, Harvey, Konchenkin all fighting very hard. Townsend tries to defend from Rogers. Rogers very controlled over that Sausage curb. The hop, skip and the jump section. I'm going to call this the hop, skip and the jump chicane for future reference. Oh, the back end of Townsend drifting round that very important corner. We've got contact maybe on the outside there. That's Harvey running wide. Harvey now lost a position. This is all for class, remember. We've got Harvey, Naisbitt, Rogers. Look at this. This is incredible action. We're all looking at Rogers defending from Naisbitt. We've got Townsend just in front of this little group here as well. We've got the two Bentleys side by side. The real estate involved that those guys are carrying really is impressive. Graves down the inside of Booth. Booth, it looks like, retained position but lost speed on the exit. They're so close to touching. Need to be so careful round turn 3. They've made it so far. Rogers and Naisbitt, and they make contact, a little bit of a touch. And Rogers had to get back out of it, and that's now allowed Harvey through. And this battle, and of course, has allowed Townsend to scamper down the road a little bit, but Harvey looks to be the real winner. Harvey and Naisbitt coming out of that battle. The action in silver really has been incredible so far. Luca's now under severe pressure, given the pressure to Clayton. This battle's been going on for quite some time as they enter the third to last corner. Van der Waals not letting these two out of his sight. The young Romanian desperate to get himself a result, or at least get one on the board after the incidents that, let's be honest, not really been their fault this season. Very close up to the wall. Look how hard he is pushing.
We are halfway through. Keep pushing.
Trying to use the straight line speed of their cars to make the overtakes as required. And again, now we've got Naisbitt on the back of Townsend. Close action all the way through, and the question I want to ask for silver is what has happened to Michael Malnick again. involved in accidents now. And he's in the pits, he's off. He's had to go into the pits. He has got damage that he is finding undrivable. He's having to pit to repair that one. A little bit of a bump on the front of that McLaren. He looks like he's not challenging these a bit too hard. He turns in but leaves the car's whip on the exit. It's good driving by these two. You think of a country as small as Wales, somehow these two have ended up on track together. The two Welshmen battling for the silver class. Naismith trying to come through the field, of course involved in the championship fight as Townsend ran a little bit wide on the hairpin. He's going to have the inside for this one, but his exit's going to be compromised. And of course Harvey, Rogers and Krajinkin. Richings now joining this as well. They're side by side. I think this one's Naismith. He's got the exit. He's down in front. He goes slightly defensive. Gives the race line up. Townsend needs to be careful. Harvey's now alongside. Can they get through the hop, skip and a jump together? It looks like they have. And Townsend's missed the apex as well. That's opened the door now for Rogers in the 512 McLaren. It's all over. He's down the inside. He pulls out of it. Krajinkin hits the back of Townsend. And now Krajinkin's lost a couple of positions. He's now battling with Grafe alongside this. Another little nudge for the Pink Panther. Up front, Clayton still defending. Look at this, is the battle for second place. Morgan again checked out in front. Luca looks like the front end of his car is gripping very nicely. Of course, the track drying out as we go, so maybe Luca is set up for a drier track. He's on the inside. Does he think about it down into this 90-degree left-hander? He doesn't. He backs out. He's going to think again and regroup. Of course, he can't just throw caution to the wind because look how close Van der Waal is to the back of these guys now. Look at the view Van der Waal's got. He's going to make a move now on Luca. He's up the inside. He's got himself the inside line. Look how close they are to the wall. He turns in and there's contact, there's a little nudge. Some door banging, hard racing, hard but fair, but they'll need to be careful they don't cause too much damage. Luca, of course, in the battle for Clayton. Clayton, of course, will be absolutely buzzing to have a little bit of a respite here as he now looks to move out in front to secure that second place. Up here we've got Palmer. He's still putting the pressure on Jack Prentice in the Lamborghini. Again, the top speed is so important as you currently see the long straight on this track. Of course, this track started as an area for back in the Prohibition era in the United States of alcohol being banned. The smugglers had to try and test their cars to make sure they could outrun police, and that's how speedway racing got started. And of course Palmer now thinks about it down the inside into turn 4. He backs out of it, but front end gets very squirrely. And this will be the situation that we've got because some of the drivers will have set up for the slightly wetter, greasy track we had to start off with. But as the cars have been barreling around here, they're now in a position where the track has dried out a little bit, and that may lean towards some of the guys who have set up their car for a slightly drier track for these final 5 minutes of the race. Luca is really... It looks like Luca has the pace on Clayton, but like they said, he can't just throw caution to the wind. He's on the back of Clayton, coming out the second to last corner now. We're on board with him, so let's see what can he do. Clayton already feels the need to go defensive. He doesn't seem to be going after some fresh air, but look at this. He's closing. He backs out of it. Needs to be careful again because Van der Waal is behind and ready to go. Jai Z again cheering on number 13. That's Camilleri in the BMW. He looks like he currently is a couple of seconds, at least a second off Harry Palmer. That's 4 seconds down he is on Palmer, so we'll double check on him in a second. But this battle, I don't want to take my eyes off as Van der Waals tries to sneak up the inside. He's not been able to do, but again, this is going to compromise the McLaren. Can the straight line speed off the McLaren save him? Or even the toe from Clayton in front. Look at this as Van der Waals takes to the inside. Just moving about in Luca's mirrors, letting him know he is there. But I do not want to take my eyes off this front three just now. Sorry Morgan, again you're too fast to get on the stream. You need to slow down. This is it here, he's really closing, but he doesn't seem to have the confidence. Almost pushes him around the track, doesn't think about diving down the inside on the second to last corner, but he definitely seems to have got himself a good line. On board with Luca again, the dirty air, pushing him wide, understeering almost outright. We look behind, we see Van der Waals now using the slipstream effect. Look how close this battle is. Van der Waals down the inside, he's going to make it this time. He's on the brakes. Has he got the ability to get the car slowed down? The Porsche's big rear wing does its job and he gets the position. They're side by side, that front axle is alongside Van der Waals' rear axle. Amazing driving by these guys. That move looks to have been done side by side for the whole first sector. One man on a charge is Dan Naisbitt. He's got himself in front of McCann and Harvey and closing down on Den Brave. He's got 2 minutes 47 seconds left. Where can he get himself up to? Palmer still on the rear of Prentice. Camilleri 3.8 down and 1.9 ahead of Dybrale. So he's out there currently running a race a little bit on his own. A bit lonely out there for him. Here's a battle going on here. We've got Serov, Walsh defending from Serov, Krunjinkin and Trotman, all within a couple of tenths of each other. Over the curb bounces the red Ferrari. Does Krunjinkin looks like he's maybe not got all the speed he needs out of there, but Trotman definitely has. Don Javier's down there as well. What's happened to Don Javier? Clayton still defending from Van der Waals. Van der Waals looks like he's got that Porsche absolutely hooked up, at least into the braking zone. He's now all over the back off the car in front. Prentice again looks like he's maybe struggling. The Aston Martin so quick in a straight line. Closes the gap, but it's not quite enough, and that Bentley keeps position at least for another couple of corners. Mäkinen up into P20. Mäkinen stormed through the field. That looked like Trotman hit the wall there just in the background. Serov pulls out to try and make the move. That Audi of Walsh has damaged, a huge smashed bonnet. And look at that, Serov down the inside, shades of Hakkinen on Schumacher and Spa. The 246 of Trotman now goes round, and that damage on the Audi really is quite apparent. Serov makes contact with the 23 car. Serov and Krunjinkin coming together. That's going to open the door for Trotman. Serov drives on and not... Is he going to give the position back? That is the question.
Right, man. The leader is on the
He's now ran wide,
and
and it looks like he's going to give that position back. He has done so. And that's good to see, good sportsmanship. Morgan's now started the final lap of the race. He's going to have one more to go. Clayton's off track. Was there contact between Clayton and Van der Waals? We took our eyes off it for 1 second, and now we've got a situation. Hacker is defending from Prentice. How's this one going to play out? Look how close they are. We can see how close they are. Hacker in the McLaren up into fourth. Can he keep fourth as Prentice tries to go round the outside of turn 1? He doesn't do it, and Prentice is going to take P4. Yellow flags out of the third to last corner. A lot of cars shown as yellow flag there actually. That's Walsh and Krunchinkin. Krunchinkin in the wars as this race comes to an end. As they cross the line, we've got one more time. Camilleri is still running on his own in P11. Driving well. Good race for him so far. Clayton and Wazzer now fighting side by side. The Bentley's got the straight line speed on the Ferrari. Look at it pull away. Potentially round the outside. He sweeps round the outside and makes it stick. The Bentley driver now up into P7.
The leader has finished the race.
And it's a win for Morgan. Takes race 1 of Indianapolis, round 3. As Clegg's going to come round after pitting on lap 1 just behind. He now takes the checkered flag. Luca's got himself up into P2 ahead of Van der Waal on the last lap. The young Romanian is going to get himself on the podium. Takes P2, Van der Waal in third. Prentice flashing his lights in celebration, as is Hacker, 4th and 5th. Mihuka's going to come through in 6th. The Bentley driver of Wazzer in 7th. Clayton, unfortunately, down there in P8. Gedman in the back there with a lovely smash bonnet. Prentice comes home 9th. Palmer was not able to get him at the end. Camileri's going slowly. He's run out of fuel. Oh, it's absolute scenes. He's not loaded the right amount of fuel in the car, and that's going to allow Mackinnon to come through and take position. Look how close these guys are at the back. We need to go over the order there because I cannot see that with my naked eye, unfortunately. And look at that at the back there. We're going to get a view of that in a second. Townsend takes 20th. Camilleri is going to be pushed, attempted to get pushed along the line by Trotman. He's decided not to do it. I think he maybe is going to get across the line. Walsh comes along. Krunchinkin, Serov, Stoyanov, and Camilleri crosses the line after being pushed along by Paul Trotman. Amazing to see that level of sportsmanship after Camilleri ran out of fuel on the last corner. Someone in the pit crew is going to be getting taken out back and around the back of the farmhouse, I think, later on this evening. So that's the end of race 1, and what a race. The greasy, damp track we had at the start of the race really set things up for us. Luca ended up taking P2, 26.2 seconds behind Morgan. That's the advantage of battling, or not battling rather, driving in clean air. Van der Waal comes home to take 3rd place on the podium in Pro Class. The silver podium looks as follows. Palmer in the 207 Aston Martin. Samuel Grafe is in 12th, and somehow, I don't know how he did it, but Dan Naisbitt's taken the final spot on the podium after the bump at turn 1. I'm going to use this opportunity to take a short comfort break. Do not go anywhere, we will be back for race 2. Hello and welcome back. Thank you very much for waiting for us. We'll be back with race 2 very shortly, the 40-minute race taking place at 2 PM in game time. Race 1, quick recap. A little bit of action at turn 1, a little bit of a destruction derby going on here. We've seen a couple of cars facing the wrong way, but it is indeed Alex Morgan again who takes the win and fastest lap of race 1. Luca held out from Damien van der Wal and Josh Clayton. Unfortunately, Clayton involved in a little bit of bump facing the wrong way, ended up down in 8th after running 2nd for a lot of the race. Prentice and Hacker battled hard and got themselves up into 4th and 5th. Harry Palmer takes his first win of the season for Silver class. Great drive from them. Samuel Grafe, after moving up from the AM class last season, takes his first podium of Silver. Dan Naisbitt, no stranger to the podium, of course, removing his sandbags for the race and battling up into P3. Then Brave, Booth and Rogers giving him close company as well, as the grid now forms for the start of race 2. And I cannot see Luca on the grid. Luca's had a disconnect. Oh no. Luca's been disconnected and will start from the back of the grid. If this guy had no luck, he'd have no luck. If this guy didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all. And Harvey as well. Harvey at the back from a disconnection. Oh. The track showing as green, so again we'll be struggling for grip initially. We see at the front of the, just a little note there, at the front of the screen we can see the physical yard of bricks. It is of course homage to the old circuit owner, after the track used to be a dirt track paved over 3.2 million bricks to have the track paved way back when. That one initial yard of brick that he laid at the start finish line remains until this day. So Morgan's going to lead Mäkinen into the first corner. Porsche versus McLaren. Clayton in the Ferrari in 3rd, another Porsche in 4th. Very interesting at the start there. The disconnections, of course, very unfortunate, but has shook up the grid a very little bit. Really is unfortunate to see that happen to those guys. We hate to see that happen. So a quick shout out for the other leagues that Formula Racing League run. This is of course the second race this week here at Indianapolis. On Tuesday evening we'll have Taco Tuesday, which starts at 8:30 PM. If you're interested, visit thesimgrid.com, search for Formula Racing League, and you can see how it's possible to join and take part in Taco Tuesday. Find all the information on thesimgrid.com to join the FRL Discord as well. And then, of course, next week we head to our 4th continent out of 4 weeks. We head to Oceania.
30 seconds.
Where we will be taking part. We're taking a race round the ever-challenging Mount Panorama circuit at Bathurst. It starts with late night Thursday, where we have a 45-minute race with one mandatory stop for fuel. Tyres optional. So that happens on Thursday. We then will have we'll be here again live from 7:45 for Super Sprint Sunday at Bathurst. We'll have the same format as this, 20-40 minute sprint, and then again we'll be there for Taco Tuesday. So that's how the week works in Formula Racing League. If you are a driver that takes part in the Sunday or Tuesday events, do be aware the Thursday now takes place beforehand, and you can of course get yourself some on-track racing action before you take part in Super Sprint Sunday and Taco Tuesday. Now the formation laps underway as we await all the drivers moving off. We see them on screen there. It really is a cracking camera we've got there, as you see, the red Porsche of Mr. Gedman moving away, and unfortunately the two disconnected drivers of Harvey and Luca. So Morgan looks very racy at the front. Can anyone stop him? Let me know in the chat who you think is the best bet to stop them from winning every single race this season. They've won every single race so far. Who can be the Carlos Sainz to his Max Verstappen? Who can stop the immovable, the unstoppable force? Who is the immovable object? Update on Camilleri. Camilleri ran out of fuel at the end of race 1. He decided, I don't know what happened, but it looked like he was coming to a stop round the final corner. And the amazing sportsmanship of, I think it was Paul Trotman in the Lamborghini, the 246 car, nudged him over the line to make sure he'd get himself a finish and championship points. Great sportsmanship to see. I think Paul Trotman needs a special shout out for doing that. Maybe Camilleri can do it. Maybe Camilleri can be the one to break Morgan's streak. I would love to see a silver driver take an overall win this season. It happened last year with Luca. Can anyone do it again this time? So now we're nearly there for the start of race 2. As the drivers enter the final sector, Morgan will back the pack up and they'll go side by side, two abreast, into the final couple of corners. It looks like Morgan's having some Morgan Grace, let's be crystal clear with that one, car number 14, having some really bad connection issues, lagging all over the place. We're just waiting for the back of the car to pull up now. We're just beginning to have them all together. As it looks like Luca flies straight into the back there. Luckily the cars ghost through each other to avoid any damage at the start of the race. Morgan's now coming round the final corner. Luke Prentice really firing up those tyres. Look at weaving side by side. Well, this is it. This is where it all goes down now. We're into the final race of round 3. We're in a warmer situation. We are green, green, green. We are off. And Mäkinen is alongside and got a great start this time. Morgan's on the inside, Mäkinen on the outside. On the left hand side. Can he do it round the outside into turn 1? He brakes later. He sweeps round turn 1. He's going to have the inside for turn 2, but I think Morgan's got his foot down and stopping any further action. We're going to go all the way through the grid to see if we can see any of potential action. We've got a collision there. That's Trotman and Palmer, I think, the 207 car. Nothing dangerous going on, at least too bad anyway, in the initial opening phase. Everyone seems to have got through the first couple of corners. That's good to see. Morgan's out in front, Mäkinen close behind in the number 7 car, and Van der Waals not letting them go away either, so this one looks like it could be a little bit closer at least. Dan Naisbitt still running there in P8 behind Prentice, but still first in class. And look at the cars back here, with 4-5 abreast even as we come in down to this 90-degree corner. McCann has a swatch out, a car facing the wrong way. That's the 500 of Clayton. Oh no, Clayton's had his car smashed to pieces again. We don't quite know what's happened there, but there's now a big gap formed between the front three as Morgan dips his wheels onto the grass. Mäkinen tries to stay with him, but I think Morgan is just so fast. He's not going to be able to do so. He's 0.6 of a second up already. It's again one of course the trickiest parts off the track. Camilleri's got a little bit of a following, it looks like, in the chat, potentially a bit of a cult hero. Luke Pace Moore cheering on Camilleri as well. So they're side by side as we go through into lap 2. Luca's already up to P25 on the back of Rogers just ahead. As Rogers tries to go round the outside of Kranchinkin, and there's almost a bit of contact. McLaren versus McLaren as the number 22 of Luca tries to sneak round as well. Dan Naisbitt's got himself ahead of Luke Prentice. So Dan Naisbitt currently first in silver class. Camilleri is running second in silver class, but some 8 positions further down the road. So a little bit of protection there. We've got Dan Clegg tries to go down the inside of Prentice, doesn't work. Now Jay Wazzer tries to go down the inside of Clegg on the hop, skip and a jump, and he's lost the rear of the car. That's Wazzer off track, needs to be careful and he's rejoined. We've got, I think that's McCann, and then the 33 of Grafe has a swatch down the inside and makes that move stick. That's 13 people now currently watching live. Thank you very much for joining. Clay5 in the chat saying this is crazy. Clay, I completely understand your frustration. Have to be off again. Not the best start for both races actually. Look at the action here. So many cars on the same straight. This is going to be completely impossible to call. So I'm going to focus on McCann, who's in front of Wazzer, who's in front of Don Javier. Rickton Brave behind. We've got an Audi, thinks about it down the inside. Townsend looks like he got past Richings there, but he's lost the rear on the exit of 1. That's Dybriel, and they're side by side into turn 3. Townsend bounces over the curbs to take the position. Amazing driving. Lucas in behind, still in 25th, battering his way through the field, keeps himself ahead of Crunch-Inkin. He's going to have to be very careful as he tries to navigate Rogers now as well. Of course, this is the thing with pack racing. You're not only looking at the car in front, you've got the car to the side, the car behind, the car on your other side, all to think about as well. Townsend leading the charge here, but he's got a flank of pilots behind trying to get his way in. As we see the Audi bouncing over the curb, so it was Richings and he spun Dybriel. Dybriel was facing the wrong way at the 90-degree corner as Palmer nearly takes the front end off the Lamborghini. End of lap 3. It is Alex Morgan in P1, Juho Mäkinen, the Flying Finn, in second, Damien van der Walt in third, Grace running very well in P4, Luke Prentice in fifth with Dan Naisbitt all over his rear. Tom Hacker, Eden Prentice, Clegg make up the top 10. Mahuka 11th, Camilleri is in 12th on track, second in class as Hacker really looks like he's got the braking off that McLaren under his command. Milnick's running just behind Camilleri in the podium spot for silver as well. This is Wazzer, we're on board with Wazzer. Let's see the onboard view as he's down the inside of McCann. McCann leaves a car's width, but he doesn't get the move done. McCann, of course, that red Lamborghini looks like a symphony of evil. The 666 on the side, the crimson red, it is a very, very nice looking car. As Don Javi has lost the rear, keeps it out of the wall thankfully, but Rickton Brave also, the front of that car looks very smashed to pieces, but Rickton Brave's punished that mistake. Chris Gedman in the Porsche. Lewis Robinson saying he should stick to the grass cutting. Earlier on, he's currently running P31, but that Porsche, again, the front of that Porsche looks like it's been damaged a little bit, maybe suffering from a loss of front downforce. This is a close situation here. We've got Prentice out in front, and then we've got a row of cars Prentice in fifth, and a row of cars all down to 14th, all within a second of each other. A little bit of action developing here. Jack Prentice, the 678 Bentley, has been flanked by a Ferrari and a Lamborghini. The Italians bearing down on the rear of the Bentley, the Spitfire. But it looks like Jack Prentice has kept position just now. Rosen Iliev in the chat, Morgan is unstoppable. That is at least what we have seen so far in Super Sprint Sunday. If you want to see who else can stop Morgan, why don't you tune in to Formula Racing League on Tuesday night from 8:15. My colleague Tom will be in the comment box that evening calling the shots for the Pro Tier of Taco Tuesday. Can anyone stop Morgan in that race? Makinen's taken the fastest lap of the race so far, so maybe Makinen can still do something. They do have half an hour left, 31 minutes still to go of racing, so it's not over yet. We've still got everybody running on track as well. But we're watching Hacker here as he tries to close down on Prentice. He's currently wait for the driver tracker to update itself. Looks like he's a couple of seconds down though, at least 6-7 seconds is Hacker from Luke Prentice. But he's definitely, well, he's not actually, he's only way less than that. It's a couple of seconds, my apologies. But Dan Naisbitt holding his own amongst the Pro Tier. Then we've got these three just tucked in behind. So Dan Naisbitt in silver takes currently in first. Cammy Levy is in second in class. That looks like Malnick's. No, it's not, sorry. Malnick is Booth. Booth in the BMW battling with Wazzer. I think Wazzer's got in front of him. Cammy Levy second in class, 12th on the road. As Booth went deep into the third to last corner. This is what I was talking about, where you can run straight into the polystyrene. You need to be very careful on your rejoin. But that's a Wazzer drove clean around the outside of Booth there on the second to last corner. All round the final corner now. It all looks pretty tight. You've got a close battle going on here. This is Palmer. What's happened to Palmer? And he tries to go around the outside of the Vita. The Vita just notices him at the last minute and gives him some breathing room. But Palmer's straight line speed off his Aston Martin has got that move completed. So this is Camilleri. He's on the back of Wazzer. This is on board with the BMW driver. So of course the back car in front not in the same class, but they do have to fight for position. It keeps the tight line there, whereas Wazzer tries to go double apex the corner. We look back as well from Camilleri, we can see Booth just beginning to fall a little bit further behind. As he goes down the inside, he's missed his braking point, smashed into the car in front. That's a massive accident. Camilleri off track and in the wars, and likely going to be ending up back in the pit lane. Yellow flags out. That was a massive crash. I don't know who he hit. I think it was Malnick's maybe. Malnick's involved in another accident. Malnick's will not be happy with that one. He came out of nowhere. That did not look nice. Yorkshire Mick in the chat. Terrible. It wasn't pretty to watch. It was a massive accident. We'll leave that one up to the stewards, I think. Malnick's will not be happy with that. He's hit again by Kochinkin twice, 3 times. He spun around facing the wrong way. It's really not went well for the American, the number 41 Ferrari. He won't be happy. He absolutely will not be happy. So that looks a little bit like Dan Naisbitt's had a bit of a nightmare. He's been off track, it looks like. Dan Clegg's now moved past up into P8. So what's happened there? Because Naisbitt was running a lot higher up. Interesting. These runs, see the difference in lines round that corner. Some take it as a double apex, some just like to hug the inside like it's your favourite granny all the way around. Just don't let go. Bit of a close battle going on here. This is Palmer and Kronchenkin. Almost side by side. Selov tucked in behind of Trotman and Walsh. Battering close behind as well as the Audi of Walsh bounces across the grass. I think that is Kronchenkin's going to take the position just now, but just behind Trotman and Walsh side by side. Now over to the hop, skip and a jump. Trotman got the inside for the first one, not for the second one, but he's tucked in. Yorkshire Mick in chat. Go on Clegg and Hackers. The RC UK. Been a good night for Hackers. How is Hackers getting on? Hackers currently running in P6 and bearing down on Luke Prentice in the 43 AMG Mercedes. Dan Clegg as well, tucked in behind Jack Prentice. Of course, just got himself in front of Dan Naisbitt. So 6th and 8th for your buddies there, Mick. Currently, just now anyway, we'll see if they can build on that as the race goes on. This seems to be where the action is, because we've got Grafe in 17th, Don Javier in P18. We've got a lapped Clayton there. I think that's Clayton being lapped. Gets in the way of Rogers and Townsend, and now they're side by side. Townsend backs out of it, allows Rogers through, but needs to be careful because Richings is all over the back. The lapped car, the lap number 4 car, moves out of the way of this battle here. And we've got 5 McLarens in a line. 5 McLarens back down there, P18 to 22nd. They look like they're going through their line astern just now. We look back the way from Rogers' rear wing. Or Rogers' rear wing, get my grammar correct. And they're all in the same car, so it is a matter of who can drive it the best, to be honest. This is the tricky third to last corner, which we see many people. We see the polished ivy all over the grass. Townsend with a very good mid-corner speed coming out of the second to last. These two McLarens almost bumper to bumper as they enter onto the main straight. Blue flags showing, I think that is for Clayton, just a little bit further behind. Townsend's maybe going to move out of the inside. He thinks about it. He just lets Rogers know he is there, enough to maybe try and force a mistake. Different lines, of course, again, a little bit of the psychological warfare involved in these battles. Dan Clegg's now caught right up to the back of Jack Prentice. That Bentley is just drove straight over that curb. Is it completely unfazed? And that is one of the beautiful things about that Bentley. It really does just eat those curbs for breakfast, lunch and dinner. No intermittent fasting for the Bentley. It is a big boy. A little bit of understeer kicking in for Clegg. Look at the Bentley just drive away. It's straight line speed. Look at it go. So Clegg might be tucked up there for a little while longer. Naisbitt's got Eden all over the back. Doesn't do anything this time, but a little bit further behind as Wazzer almost thinks about it. Booth behind as well, defending hard from Luca, who's up into 14th. An absolute steam through the field from Luca. Townsend makes a move on Don Javier into turn 1. Good move from the Welshman. Next up for Don Javier is Rogers, but still Rogers got his rear view mirror filled up by Luke Richings. Looking all over the back, and just behind we can see the cars all battering so hard. They're side by side. Richings and Krajinkin almost side by side. With Krajinkin now maybe got the better exit out of that corner. Richings has got a little bit of damage. Maybe a little bit of aerodynamic issues as they come into the 90-degree left. He's hit the curb and he's spun round Krajinkin and there's further contact. Krajinkin's done a 360 on the 90-degree left and lost a couple of positions as Richings bounced over the curb. So quick rundown then, what's currently going on. Morgan is out in front, but Mäkinen has not let him dance away with this one. Is Morgan taking my advice and trying to slow down to get himself some more screen time? Or is Mäkinen doing his best to keep this one interesting, the two at front, keeping us on our toes perhaps? Van der Waals dropped off, not able to live with his extremely hot pace. Van der Waals 11.9 behind with Morgan Grace in P4. We'll try and not get that confused. Grace and Morgan. Morgan Grace, wow. Right, okay, we'll try and keep that one as clear as possible. I'm going to go with the surnames only going forward with those two. Prentice is in 5th with Hacker still behind in 6th. Clegg and Jack Prentice. So Clegg and Hacker are attacking the Prentice brothers. Dan Naisbitt still under pressure from Eden. Mihuka's in 12th. Luca now up into 13th. 12th in class from the back off the grid. That is a cracking performance. We'll see if he's halfway through the race as well, so he can still make himself potentially up into the top 10. I see no reason why he can't do that. Booth is currently running 2nd in class. McCann 15th overall, and Rick Den Brave occupying that 3rd podium spot. Walsh is now on the back of Serov, so Walsh is actually in pro class, and this is the issue we have, not the issue, one of the exciting parts of this Super Sprint Sunday format. You do not need to give way, there's no blue flags for racing in different classes. They're all technically in the same field, we're all racing each other. There is 2 separate championships running, however, and you only score points for the championship you are in. So if Walsh were to beat Serov, he wouldn't necessarily score more points than him. However, is Serov holding up Walsh? We won't know. He's got to get past himself, he's got to make his way past, and that's one of the exciting things about this format. So German doing his best, weaving back and forward there. What is De Vita doing? De Vita is defending. His windscreen wiper looks to be stuck on. Hopefully that's not too distracting for him. German completes another lap, just skimming the dust. All for the cameras, he knows we're watching him. We've got a car running wide. We've got a car that's ran wide, that's the 174. Who's that? Can't see that. Who is that? That's Walsh. Walsh, who we just finished watching, has ran wide and now in the pits. This is Hacker now battling Prentice. Prentice has got damage on the front of his car. When's that happened? But Hacker now down the outside. They're side by side into turn 1. Prentice has held position at least for the meantime. Yorkshire Mick, I think there's a delay there in the chat. You've let me know it's Walsh. I think we worked it out, unfortunately. But thank you very much nonetheless. Please keep me corrected. So that's a position made, not made there for Hacker. He's still behind Prentice, but that AMG Mercedes does look to have a little bit of front end damage. The Lamborghini of Clegg looks to be much quicker as well than the Bentley around the corners, but in the straight lines the Bentley just flies away. on board with Clegg as he takes a hop, skip and a jump. And we really see just how important this corner is. Because that Bentley, like we say, it just drives out the corner and it's gone. Bang! And the Bentley is gone. I wonder how long Clegg just sits there waiting before his patience runs out and he decides to try and yeet it down the inside. Yeet! So Luca now another position ahead. He's ahead of Mahuka and into P12. He is yeeting his way through the field. A good drive from Luca actually. Yorkshire Mick there confirming the Bentley is too fast on the straight. Completely agree, it is an absolute monster. Of course, with the balance of power, it is 40 kilograms lighter than it normally is. Meaning its power, it can really put its power down on the straight lines, whereas the Lamborghinis had weight added to what is already a very heavy car. Look how close they are coming around this time. This might be it here because he's now going to get the toe down the straight, the slipstream effect, where then that's a big slipstream because that Bentley is a big car. But it's not enough. It's not enough, not this time. So here's an interesting one. This is the onboard shot from Juho Mäkinen's car, the number 7 car. The car in front is Morgan. He is closing the gap ever since Iliev came on chat and said he's unstoppable. Mäkinen has been eating up the asphalt between the two of them. Dust being kicked up in the air from the battle that's just in front of these two. That's the 21 car of, I think that's De Vita, who's just in front. Does De Vita get out of the way? That is the question. Is De Vita going to hold up the leaders as they come through? He's not. He moves offline. De Vita gets out of the way nicely, and Chris Gedman's the next one up the field. So both of them got through that time reasonably well. The gap now 1.2 seconds. It looks less than that on track actually. Look how quick they've caught Gedman. They really are lapping at some speed. Just for context, I'm in the same class as Gedman. Iliev there calling me out on his call out in the chat there. Yep, it'd be great if Mäkinen can press Morgan. It'll be great to see what he can do under pressure. Gedman makes contact with the leader. Gedman's watching the chat as well and trying to mix things up for us. Don't think that one was meant, let's be honest. I'm not going to drag his name through the mud like that. But that has really opened things up for us. Maybe a slight bit of able damage. The gap now down to a second. A little bit further back. What's going on here? Clegg has got past Prentice. We've missed that on chat. Missed that on chat, not chat, sorry. Missed that on stream. So Clegg's got himself past the Bentley and now beginning to slowly pull away. And Eden now under the pressure. Sorry, applying the pressure. And Luca is on the verge of entering the top 10 on track after starting from the back off the grid. Dan Naisbitt, I think, might think better of this one and just let him through. He does so indeed, and that's good to see. Dan Naisbitt thinking off the championship as Luca goes past Eden. Not able to make the move just now. Clegg now 2.8 behind Hacker. But up front, is it getting scrappy from Morgan? Are we seeing the infallible Morgan under pressure now? Diamonds are created under pressure. Can he make this a jewel of a victory? Can he do anything about it? That Porsche is flying. We've got another lapped car in front, the 66 car off. That's Stoyanov, so is Stoyanov going to end up getting involved with the leaders battle. Everyone in the chat, go Porsche, go! I think we all want to see Morgan at least be challenged. I'm going to remain impartial, of course, and if he wins, he does definitely deserve to have won. However, this is the first time we've not seen Morgan dance away at the front. Mick saying we could have a race for the last 10 minutes. It's so close from Stoyanov. Nearly gets in the way of a massive accident. Morgan now the gap 0.7 of a second. Mäkinen just kicking up the dust on the inside of every corner. Anyone else who does race will know that means he can go just a little bit faster, of course. Look back the way from Morgan's McLaren. The direction change on that McLaren really is incredible. We will see who managed to keep the tyres for the last laps. Ruslan Iliev in the chat. Absolutely. It will be very interesting to see what happens entering the final 10 minutes of the race. This is when the tyres do begin to go if you've not looked after them. So has Morgan just been biding his time and getting the tyres through to this point in the race? Or is this a genuine showing of the pace between these two gladiators as they cross the line to start the 19th lap? Now 0.68 seconds between them. Gap between Hacker and Clegg down to 1.8, I think. Yep, 1.8. There we are there. That is Hacker on the back of Prentice still. Luca now up into P9. We've missed Luca's charge through the field because the action's been happening elsewhere. But we see now Prentice potentially under a bit of pressure. Look at the McLaren straight line speed. Is Prentice going to keep it on the inside? He definitely is. He's not letting Hacker have the inside. As we come into turn 1, Prentice keeps position, and a little bit further back we've got the other Prentice brother and Luca battling for P8. Half a second now separate the front two. It certainly looks like we're in for a grandstand finish. This is from the passenger seat of Mäkinen's car. We enter the speedway section, slam on the brakes, so late on the brake. Amazing control off the left foot of Mäkinen. He cuts that inside curb absolutely beautifully. Mäkinen now 0.4 behind. It looks certainly like a lot less than 0.4. 9 minutes and 30 seconds left as we cross the brickyard again for the 20th time. Gap closing, but nothing this time around. Mäkinen just moves out of the mirrors, just lets him know he is still there. It looks like Hacker has fell back a little bit from Prentice and into the clutches of Clegg in the number 20 car. We'll keep a track on that, but this is now 0.3 of a second between first and second now. 8 minutes left. We don't have very long left in race 2. Hacker still on the back. And they've got Prentice as well under pressure. This time can we keep position? Luca in the McLaren, of course, does have a straight line speed. Can match a straight line speed rather off the Bentley, but it's not enough to go in front, at least not on this lap. These guys really are taking every possible inch they can out of this racetrack. Just kicking up the grass on the inside almost everywhere they go. Look how close they get to the wall. This really is some skilled driving. Looks like he's got a good exit, has Morgan. He's going to move away a little bit. At least for one more lap. So now we've got Yorkshire Mick there in the chat again. Thank you very much for being so active. Great to have you with us watching this evening. Obviously cheering on Hacker and Clegg as they're on the back of Luke Prentice. That AMG Mercedes, that football pitch of a bonnet on the front of that car, hosting a massive AMG engine just doing enough to keep itself in front of the McLaren and Lamborghini bearing down on it. Can anything happen this time? Will Hacker and Clegg work together to get past this Mercedes? Nothing this time. Nothing this time, as Prentice still feels a need to go just a little bit defensive to discourage any potential yeet attempt down the inside. Luca again still on the back of Prentice. Is this where his charge stops? Are his tyres done? Look at the closing speed in the braking zone. The Bentley might be 40 kilograms lighter, but it's still a machine. It's still an absolute beast. Wazer's got Booth all over the back of him. Naisbitt's falling into the clutches a little bit there off Booth. The way Booth has saved himself some tyres for the dying moments of the race. No movement again between the front battles. Mäkinen still half a second behind Morgan. That's less than half a second. The slipstream effect really working in Mäkinen's favour. Prentice has got a little bit of breathing room. I think Prentice is very good. Maybe coming onto that sort of speedway section of the track. And maybe slows down a little bit as he comes through this part here. Yeah. Keeping an eye on all the gaps we have on track as well. Half a second between the front two. And now again, can Mäkinen, so not Mäkinen, can Hacker close up? He's closing. Again this time, Prentice again goes defensive. And he's keeping that. It's working well for him. This line that he's taken now. He's going to begin to start falling into the clutches of Clegg. Clegg now alongside Hacker, backs out of it. You think if maybe Hacker would let Clegg go, he could get in front and hold up, maybe cause Prentice to make a little bit of a mistake, and they could both get past together. Clegg definitely looks the faster of the two. He's hugging the inside, like I said, as if it was his favourite granny, and makes the move complete. That one might have been orchestrated, to be honest. So this is interesting. These guys are now a lot closer. We've seen the slipstream effect. Morgan's feeling the need to go defensive already. This is it. This could be the move for P1. Morgan takes the defensive line. Mäkinen's going round the outside. He's going to try anyway. He brakes later, but doesn't have enough, at least not on this lap, to make that one work. So now Clegg has got past Hacker. Can Clegg now make the move on the AMG Mercedes? Luca really now on the back of that Bentley. It's caused so much problems for others with its straight line speed. Can it happen here? Let's have a look on board. Bentley's still fast. Bentley's still got the straight line speed advantage over the McLaren. And that's not something I thought I'd ever say looking at this game with my experience with it. A little bit further down the field then, let's have a look, because there is other people in this race as well. This is Grafe on the back of Rick Den Brave. This is for the final podium spot. Townsend tucked in there as well. Townsend running very well here at Indianapolis. They're side by side. The straight line speed of the Audi really down the inside. Den Brave down the outside. Can they get through cleanly? And there's a little bit of contact. Nothing serious, at least not just yet. One more time they cross the line, the front two really giving us a show. Mäkinen a little bit further back, 2 minutes and 50 seconds left. Van der Waals coming up to the lapped cars of De Vita and Gedman now. I think it's De Vita, my apologies if it's not. It is. So we see now Clegg all over the back of the Mercedes of Prentice. We're on board here with the Lamborghini, we're on board with Clegg, number 20. The AMG Mercedes is very quick as well, isn't it? Luca is just able to keep the speed. Does he think about it? He doesn't this lap. And Luca's now lost a position to Eden. Iliev and Chad pointing out, obviously Luca's been charging through the field, burning the rubber. And he's just lost a position, lost himself out to Eden potentially. And there's contact! Luca and Eden side by side. Eden's now off track. Eden's going to fall down the field and rejoin side by side with Matthias Daibril. That's not Daibril, sorry, my apologies. That is Mihulka. My apologies, both of them in the same livery, got confused. That one is on them. Yes, them. Change your livery. Mäkinen again. This is the last lap of the race. This is what needs to happen. It needs to happen on this lap. We have got one more lap to go. And they're side by side, but it looks like it's not going to happen for the Flying Finn. He's done his absolute best in making us look and wonder if it's going to happen. He's still not over. It's still not over. We can still happen. We'll have a look. Prentice there, still defending from Clegg. We'll jump back with that one in a second. A little bit further back, Wazzer and Eden battling each other. Wazzer's got ahead. And we've seen there the battle for the final podium spot. I think Grafe has pulled out a little bit of a gap to take that podium spot from Rick Den Brave. Townsend still on the charge behind. Clegg still didn't make the move. He's not done it yet. Mäkinen now entering the final sector. He's 6/10 down now. The lap car potentially ending that charge. Morgan has sustained the pressure. He's won both races at Kyalami in round 1. In round 2 he won both races at Spa. And he drives round the final corner here at Indianapolis. And he's going to win both races and the fastest lap, but it's not been easy going this time. Morgan takes the win. Mäkinen under a second behind. Van der Waal is going to come round in P3, but a quick look further back sees Clegg still tucked up behind. Luca's got himself in front of Prentice finally. Luca is up into P8. Grafe is still in that final podium position. Townsend up into 4th. He's taken Rick Den Brave as well. Townsend's made the move up into P4. It's going to be Van der Waal to cross the line and take the final podium spot as Gedman and De Vita go weaving at the background. Grace in the 14 Ferrari is going to come home and take P4. Great performance from him. Prentice is going to hold off from Clegg. It's been an amazing charge back through the field from Clegg, but Prentice takes 5th with Clegg in 6th, Hacker 7th. Luca, what a drive from the young Romanian up into P8, Prentice 9th. Naisbitt takes the win for silver. Mihulka takes the 11th place, Wazzer 12th, Eden down in 13th, Booth takes 2nd in class. McCann's going to come home in 15th, and it's Grafe. Samuel Grafe is going to take 3rd position in silver, with Townsend just holding on from Rick Den Brave for 4th and 5th. Daibril comes across the line 19th on track. Rogers 20th. Sorry, Rogers 19th. Selov 20th. Trotman 21st. Krunchinkins 22nd. And I'm going to have to take a second to go and look at the results because it's all changing. And the driver tracker is slightly delayed. Rogers takes 20th. Selov 21st. Trotman 22nd. Krunchinkins 23rd. Michael Milnick's down in 24th after running in 3rd at the start of the race. Don Javier in 25th. Gedman finishes 26th on track. De Vita 27th. Stoyanov 28th. Harvey 29th. Luke Richings down in 30th. Harry Palmer, after taking a podium in the first race, did not finish. Neither did Walsh or Clayton. Camilleri will very likely be seeing the stewards. What a race we've had there for race 2. Incredible action. There's a T in the chat there. P4 in class. Great drive from yourself, Daz. Great to see that one. Almost equaling your podium back in Kyalami. Next time, maybe he can go one step more, because next time out, Formula Racing League will be trying to tackle the mountain that is the Mount Panorama Circuit in Bathurst. That will be next week, 7:45 here on FRL TV at FRL Race Hub. Hope to see you then. We will have you back live, of course. My colleague Tom Cairns will be presenting the Pro Tier of Taco Tuesday. Maybe somebody can beat Morgan round this track. Tune in on Tuesday to see that, and of course tune in next week as well. One of the most challenging circuits, of course, is the Bathurst Mountain, and we'll see who can reign supreme there. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. It's been a pleasure to bring this action to you all. Congratulations to Morgan, Mackinnon and Van der Waal for taking the podium in Pro Tier. Dan Naisbitt, Jay Booth and Samuel Grafe taking the podium in silver for race 2. It's been a pleasure to bring this to you all. Until next time, take care. Good night.